LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. Truer words have never been said. It does not matter who is sitting here. What matters is who is listening over there. That is for sure, as we are hanging out doing all the fun stuff that we get to do on this lovely Friday. Yes, and you know, it is the Friday right before Labor Day. So is it a 3-day weekend for you? Are you trying to work it as a 4-day weekend or maybe a 3.5-er? I mean, I get it. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then, of course, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, infiltration and Radio Big. You know how that goes. Also, in case we forgot, they are still hanging out on iHeartRadio, being distributed via iHeartRadio. So just so you know exactly what is going on over there. Anyway, so still a lot of stuff to talk about today. So don't worry. We're going to have you full of stuff to talk about, full of things to discuss. And we go from there. We'll go from there and talk about all that fantasticness, because that is probably the easiest way to do this, opposed to it being some big convoluted mess and talking about something entirely different. So don't worry about that. We'll make sure to take care of you and do all the fun stuff that we get to do. So no problem right there. Anyways, with that being said, let's start saying all the important stuff. It is September the 2nd, just in case you forgot, 245 of the year and only 120. So 120 days left before the end of the shit show as what is going on here. That's always a fun stuff that we get to talk about and discuss. But I think we should start talking about, well, what might be important to some.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, and talking about what was trending, let's do this real quick. Serena Williams landed in Twitter's top 10 trends yesterday ahead of her double matches alongside her sister Venus at the U.S. Open, and the first time the two teamed up since 2018. Sarah Palin was trending on Thursday after losing the Democrat Mari Peltola in the state special House election. So, and then what else? Take a movie golfing. Take a movie golfing was trending yesterday's tweets included Fiddler on the Rough, Bogey Nights, not to be confused with Boogie Nights, Birdie on the Wire, and the Weekend at Birdie's. So there you go. I guess it was a nice little tie-in of stuff that you could talk about in regards of here's a little of this, here's a little of that. We tie it into golf. Are you a big golf fan? Like, seriously. Is this something that you give a little lovey-dovey to? Like, do you sit back and go, I think today is a good day to go golfing. And here's the fun part. And I mean, I'll reference this and some people won't love it and it's okay. I live in Florida, which, there's a lot of golf courses around here, not professionals-wise, but a lot of golf courses. And I could care less. I could care less about the golf courses. And some of my friends think that I'm nuts, in regards of not wanting to do the golf thing. I just don't get it. I think it's not for me, is really what it boils down to. Okay, some news coming in from the box already. It says, it looks like you were up on LinkedIn, but you're already down. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, all I can do is repeat the same thing that I say before. If you want to hang out and take a listen and take a view, we prefer for you to listen, and that would be either via Safety FM or RadioBig.fm. Those are the two options. Or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on Visual Radio. If you want to see me, that's how we do it. Visual radio. Don't worry, sometimes I get to tell my kids the same thing. If you want to see me, that's where you can see me.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, well, anyways, with that being said, let's get moving and grooving. Let's start talking. Let's start doing some of the stuff that we get to do around here, because I think that that's going to be important for us to hang and bang and do all the cool spots in that particular regards. So if you're not familiar with our show, it kind of goes something like this. You can interact with the show. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's the easiest way to do that. The other side of the equation is this as well. After you do that, you get some options on there on what you get to do once you get in. Once that occurs, that's pretty much stems it up. That cancels everything through, and then we get to talk, hang out, do whatever. The other side is we talk about safety in the news, news and safety. Some people don't like that. Some people love it. So there you go. Anyways, we bring in some professional broadcasters. They'll start talking about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news, and then I come back, give you some Ayatollah of rock and rolla, and then we kind of sum it all up from there. Anyways, big nod to Chris Jericho right there in that particular regards. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and click it off and get you directly into the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. President Biden says the Republican Party is intimidated by Donald Trump and what he calls the MAGA Republicans. In a primetime speech yesterday at Philadelphia's Independence Hall, the president said MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where no one has the right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, and no right to marry who you love. Biden called out those Republicans for the January 6th attack at the Capitol.
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots.
In a radio interview, Trump says he is financially supporting some of the insurrectionists and said he might pardon the attackers if he were to run and then win in 2024. He said the government would then also apologize to them. California crews are battling a wildfire north of Los Angeles during an extreme heat wave. Officials say the route fire is now 27% contained after burning over 5,200 acres near the town of Castaic. Los Angeles County fire officials say ground crews were battling the blaze during extreme temperatures of up to 110 degrees. Summer is ending and airlines are insisting they're on the rebound after a rough vacation season. Tom Costello reports on the latest move by the U.S. Department of Transportation to hold airline customer service accountable ahead of the Labor Day weekend.
The government is posting a scorecard, how airlines treat customers when they cancel or delay flights because of mechanical or staffing issues, pushing the airlines to do better.
The new airline customer service dashboard at DOT.gov details what each airline will and won't do for customers, from rebooking fees to meal and hotel vouchers. If flights are delayed or canceled, airlines are rated in different categories with green check marks and red X's. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A gunman's weapon has failed to fire after he confronted Argentina's vice president. US President Biden's warned extremist Republicans who support Donald Trump are threatening American democracy. Chengdu's become the largest Chinese city in months to be locked down due to COVID-19, and polling suggests more than two-thirds of British parents are worried about how they'll afford necessities over the next year.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
A team of UN inspectors is now on the ground at a Russian-held nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Rory O'Neill with more.
The nuclear plant in Zaporizhia is the largest in all of Europe, and both Ukraine and Russia accuse each other of shelling dangerously close to the facility. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency said Thursday his team has made it through the crossfire to arrive at the plant and will remain there as long as it takes to provide an impartial and technically sound assessment of the situation. I'm Rory O'Neill.
At least one person is dead and two others are injured after a stabbing at a high school in North Carolina. Police in the town of Jacksonville responded to reports of a physical altercation between two students at Northside High School Thursday morning. One of the students later died of their injuries. A teacher was also injured in the attack. The late actress Anne Heche was trapped inside a burning home for 45 minutes before firefighters and paramedics could tend to her. Los Angeles City Fire Deputy Chief Richard Field says the flames and smoke were too heavy for crews to rescue Heche right away.
Given the heavy fire and smoke conditions, it wasn't that you could clearly see into the vehicle or clearly be able to access it.
Los Angeles City Fire Department records and timestamp recordings of radio communications show how long Heche was trapped inside her car, surrounded by flames. She crashed her car into a home in Mar Vista on August 5th, igniting a large fire. Heche died a week after the crash. September is National Suicide Awareness Month. Brian Shook reports.
As always, at any time, if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, help can be found around the clock by calling or texting 988. People can also chat on the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988lifeline.org. Suicide is one of the top 10 leading causes of death in the United States as of 2020 and is the second leading cause of death among Americans ages 10 to 34.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Attention business owners. Are you receiving all the employee tax credits you have coming to you? A tax refund program provided for by the CARES Act of 2020 could be worth thousands. Employee retention tax credits, or ERTCs, are a fully refundable payroll tax. You may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee per quarter. At Lifetime Advisors, we have a team of experts dedicated to the ERTC program. We work with businesses of all sizes, both big and small, to claim the money that they're entitled to. It's your money, and we can help you get it. Call Lifetime Advisors today at 1-877-851-0005. We'll send you a short questionnaire to see if you qualify. There is no obligation, but this is a limited time program. Don't miss out. Call 1-877-851-0005. That's 1-877-851-0005 to get the ERTC money you have coming to you. Lifetime Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
What happened to Philip K. Dick from February to March 1974 would change him forever. For the next 8 years, he attempted to explain in writing his experience of the entire universe transformed into information. Enter the letters, dreams, and journal entries of the mind behind Blade Runner and A Scanner Darkly. Learn the genesis of the Valis trilogy and the stories behind other classic Dick novels. Houghton Mifflin Harcourt is proud to present The Exegesis of Philip K. Dick, edited by Pamela Jackson and Jonathan Lethem. Experience the ultimate quest into a cosmic mystery like no other. Touch genius.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. Anyway, so let's start talking about what is going on inside of the world of the list today, because I think we tend to forget from time to time who we are. I mean, no, that's not what I meant. I meant what's on the list. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, Twitter has rolled out a feature that edits tweets, but you'll have to pay to use it for now. It's a good to launch as part of the Twitter Blue, the $4.99 optional add-on for some minor customization features for the platform. Power users recently, the premium service added features that undo send a tweet, but just a few minutes after it was sent. The New York Times reports that Twitter expects to allow all users to edit tweets eventually. Worth noting, Elon Musk, who may or may not have been forced to make good on the buyout offer of Twitter, has been a proponent of edit features, so there you go. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with the whole Elon Musk thing. And I got a question. If you make, let's see, a tweet and you send something out, what if you don't like it? Can you just delete it? I mean, isn't that the easier way to do it? I'm just asking the question, of course. Just something to think about as we are talking. Anyways, that's it.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying, you know.
Okay, there you go. Some information real quick. Yikes. Yeah, a 20-year-old man is recovering after suffering a massive bee attack last week when he was climbing a tree while helping a friend trim some of its branches. People report that he accidentally cut the nest of African killer bees. Yeah, and all that, the man was stung 20,000 times and even swallowed 30 bees during the attack. Horrifying, the victim's mother tells people that he had bees inside of him and that that they had to suction bees out of his system. Even, oh my God, all the way from the evening that he arrived until that Sunday morning. Fortunately, he's expected to fully recover. That sounds terrible. Seriously, it sounds terrible in regards to what is going on. Can you imagine that? And let me ask the question here, because you know we get to interact with a lot of safety pros here. What exactly does the incident report or accident report look like on that? And what kind of a conversation are you going to have with people after that comes about? You know that that's going to be a thing, so I had to bring that up. So there you go. Anyways, power company Xcel Energy has a program that provides rebates to customers who use thermostats that the company controls, even in the customer's house. So Xcel can moderate the power grid during the peak use. Typical users are able to override in case of emergency, or if they just want to, to swelter a little bit in the summer, or not swelter for that fact. On Tuesday, as the temperature pushed to 90 degrees in Colorado, some customers were completely out of luck. They couldn't override the system to cool their homes below 78. This program this program is and was voluntary, and it remains entirely voluntary. So I don't know. Is that something that you would want to do? Somebody else controlling your thermostat, think about that right now. It's like, imagine having your kids control your thermostat. You're probably not going to allow that to happen. So why do you want some other person that you definitely don't know to be able to do it and not have a problem whatsoever with them doing it altogether?
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. A few weeks ago, a woman named Laura Hernandez was paddleboarding off the coast of Massachusetts. She fell off and lost her iPhone, but it was a waterproof pin case, so she thought that maybe it wouldn't be lost for long, and she was right. Just a day later, a student diver found it about 25 feet underwater on her first open water ocean dive ever. Even if it still had power when she found it, Hernandez gave the diver $300 for finding it and returning it. So there you go. A little $300 coming your direction because you found a phone. I always have heard this stuff about how these iPhones can make it underwater for X amount of time and, a certain amount of meters, but I didn't really think that it was legit. In that particular fashion. So there you go. I get proven wrong. Anyway, Starbucks has named a new chief executive officer. Lasman Nashim previously was the head of PepsiCo Latin America and worked for Starbucks leadership in the past on various deals and initiatives. Most recently, he was the CEO of Reckitt, the company that manufactures Lysol and baby formula. And the Wall Street, this is according to what the Wall Street Journal says. So let's see where, Starbucks goes now. That's what's going to be the interesting part as we are talking about this. Anyways, results from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, sometimes called the Nation Report Card, shows the largest decrease in reading amongst 9-year-olds in 30 years. While math scores are for the age cohort plummeted for the first time since testing began a century ago. Commissioner Peggy Carr from the National Center of Education Statistics, a branch of the U.S. Department of Education, explained that that even the highest achievers on the assessment showed decline in scores. Sometimes she says it wasn't even seen enough during the pandemic. The takeaway here is that there was no increases of an achievement in either subject of many student groups and assessments, and there were only declines of the stagnant scores of the national 9-year-old scorecards. This is according to what Carr had to say. Never forget that COVID-19 didn't cause this. The over-politicization of the schools and school boards did this. The closures of the virtual school education and the social distancing and the lack of accountability did this. I mean, you have to look at it from that particular standpoint. And listen, I know that it was a new challenge. Don't get me wrong as I say this, but man, I didn't realize that the decrease was going to happen to that extent as we are talking. That's one way to really give it some thought.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, with that being said, I think it's time to bring some John Smalls in, and let's listen to what happened inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, September 2nd, 2022. Equities sold off for a fifth straight day, extending the downdraft to nearly 9% from the recent peak. The upshot is the market bounced off the low to close with a gain of 0.3%. The latest round of selling is being driven by the growing acceptance that inflation is not coming down appreciably, and the FOMC is about to spark a major recession. The FOMC, through its many mouthpieces, has indicated an aggressive pace of interest rate hikes will continue until real inflation is down, and that could mean as many as 8 more 25 basis point hikes before the hiking cycle is over. With the S&P 500 moving lower and firing off strong sell signals, the odds the index will retest the 3,600 level are very strong. The risk now is the index will move below the 3,600 level and extend the sell-off to a new low range around 3,500 or lower. If the market can't get back on its feet by then, the selling could continue until the index reaches its long-term secular trend line near the 2,800 level. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thanks, John Smalls, for that information right there. Always some good info that you share with us. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive here. The Dow picked up about 145 points on Thursday at the close of 31,656. The S&P lost about 11.85 points to close at 3,966. The NASDAQ lost about 31 points to close at 11,785. West Texas Intermediate slipped to $86.44. Brent crude was down to $92.12. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.82 as of Thursday, $1 a gallon more than it was at the start of September in 2018, just for reference purposes. And then after afternoon sell-off, Bitcoin was relatively flat on Thursday, down just a few bucks, but it was trading just above $2,000. Now take a listen to this, because this is not going to make some people happy. But on Thursday, there was 3,663 delayed flights within, into, and out of the United States, and 268 such cancellations. So there you go. Anyways, if you don't have some big plans for the weekend, I got some movie marathons that you might be able to go through if you're so inclined to do so. So here we go, taking it from the very top of the sequence. It goes something like this. New to Amazon is The Lord of the Rings of Power. New to Disney Plus will be The Year of the Scab. New to HBO Max is Elvis. Yes, that Elvis movie. Yes, the newest one. Yes, it is ready and willing to go. New to Hulu is The Cat in Paris, Ernest and Celestine, Lupin 3, The First, and White Snake. And I'm not talking about the band, just in case. And then new to Netflix is be Ivy and Bean, The Ghost That Had to Go, and Ivy and Bean, Doomed to Dance. So if you're looking at some Ivy and Bean, I guess you got some things to take a look at if you're so inclined to do that. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this real quick. Coming out of Pennsylvania, police are investigating pools of human blood. Yeah, police say the Pennsylvania towns are working to unravel the mystery of 2 pools of human blood discovered outside of a retirement center. Trey Thomas has more information.
A 4-by-7-foot pool of blood was found in the parking lot of a retirement center in Silver Spring Township last Saturday morning. Another pool of blood was found in the grass a few feet away. Police say everyone who lives at the retirement center is accounted for, and the only possible piece of evidence is a pair of black Ray-Ban prescription glasses found near the area. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, there you go. Some interesting stuff going on right there. Take a listen to this real quick. Police are searching for a driver in a hit and run that left a 5-year-old dead in Queens. Scott Pringle has more information.
Video shows a vehicle making a turn and then hitting a 5-year-old boy while he and his parents were crossing the street. The driver then took off. This was around 5:30 last night at 100th and McIntosh Streets in East Elmhurst. This guy was there.
I see the mom crying. I see the dad right next to the kid crying. And the kid was just laying there, blood all over the place.
The boy, identified as Jonathan Martinez, was pronounced dead at the hospital. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Ugh, that is a terrible one to even hear. I mean, just think about that. Hit and run and all of this stuff. I mean, I don't even know what to say after something along those lines. That is for sure. Let's continue talking a little bit more. Donald Trump is lashing out at President Biden for attacking MAGA Republicans in the primetime speech. Listen to what Mark Mayfield has to say.
In Philadelphia last night, Biden accused the former president and his followers of extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Trump responded on his Truth Social platform and said Biden's speech was awkward and angry, and that Biden must be insane or suffering from late-stage dementia. Trump wrote that if Biden doesn't want to make America great again, then he should not be representing the United States of America. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, so there you go. Some interesting stuff coming out of there. Take a listen to this. A team in the UN inspectors is now on the ground at a Russian-held nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Rory O'Neill has more.
The nuclear plant in Zaporizhia is the largest in all of Europe, and both Ukraine and Russia accuse each other of shelling dangerously close to the facility. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency said Thursday his team has made it through the crossfire to arrive at the plant and will remain there as long as it takes to provide an impartial and technically sound assessment of the situation. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Okay, thank you, Rory, for that, letting us know what is going on there. Take a listen to this. Mayor Lori Lightfoot is welcoming migrants sent to Chicago this week with open arms. The mayor promised to provide resources to the dozens of Venezuelans who were sent there on buses chartered by the Texas officials.
We are Chicago, a welcoming city, a city where we live our values every single day, a city where immigrants and refugees have been a part of the fabric of the city from our earliest days.
Lightfoot blasted Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says that he is sending undocumented immigrants to sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. until the federal government secures the border. Lightfoot described Abbott's action as racist and unpatriotic. So there you go. Some information going on right there as we are talking real quick. Let me tell you about this one before we get too far away from anything. Amazon has lost an effort to overturn a union vote at its warehouse in New York, Staten Island. Take a listen.
On Thursday, a National Labor Relations Board official recommended upholding the vote in April when more than 2,600 workers voted to join the Amazon Labor Union. It's the first vote to unionize at one of the online retail giant's U.S. locations. Amazon has until September 16th to file objections to the official's recommendation. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that information right there as we are hanging out and doing all the stuff that we are doing right now. Listen to this real quick, because this one's an interesting one. A math teacher who sued a Kansas school officials after she said that she was unfairly reprimanded and suspended for refusing to use a student's pronouns is getting $95,000 settlement from the school district. Trey Thomas has more.
In her lawsuit against Fort Riley school officials, Pamela Ricard says that using the student's preferred pronouns went against her personal and religious beliefs. Ricard's attorney said she now teaches in another state because of family matters not related to the lawsuit. I'm Trey Thomas.
That's interesting. Related to how her religious beliefs are. Interesting to hear. Anyways, let's do it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Are you looking at the clock? Are you looking at the calendar? Are you going, hold on, is it the normal day? I thought today was Friday. Isn't Friday normally freeform? Well, I think it's normally freeform, so let's freeform it even some more and throw in some features here in regards of having this conversation. You know, I will tell you, I had this great opportunity yesterday to sit down and talk to some people that are, well, we'll put it to you this way. The organization that they work for is very well known throughout the world. The organization, that they work for, if I told you even colors that are associated in regard to their logo, it would not take you too long to figure out who I'm talking about due to their popularity. And it was interesting sitting down and talking and coming to the realization that they have forgotten who they are. That they have forgotten that at certain portion, they were a industry leader in what they do. And I thought it was interesting even more as I got to talk, hang, and do all that stuff to reference about what is going on. Because, listen, I think that there is times through our careers that we forget who we are. And listening to this organization forget who they are or were or however you want to take a look at it was quite mesmerizing to me. And why do I say this? Well, I say this for the standpoint is I think this happens in our careers. I think that it's not about being braggadocious. It's not about bragging and say, oh, let's take a look at the good life. That's not the case. What I'm trying to say is let's take a look at how far you've come. And I think that sometimes somebody needs to, well, we'll say emotionally slap you in the face to get you to remember where you've been and what you've done. And sometimes I know that when you're going through the journey of getting from point A to point B to moving down the track, we sometimes tend to lose sight of where we've come from. And it's a weird thing to think about sometimes, because sometimes the struggle of what we are going through is so real that we are unable to look how far we've come. So I say this to reference this at the same time. Remember who you are. Remember what you've done. Yes, every day will not be the easiest day in the world. Yes, every day is not going to be the toughest day in the world. Yes, it is okay for you not to be okay. But even if it takes you to go out there and be angry at some point for you to remember who you are, I think you need to hear that today. I don't know why I think you need to hear that today, but I do. Here's the fun part. Sometimes, and I know that this sounds kind of asinine as I mentioned this, but I want to reference it anyways. I will take trips to the places of where I used to live because I have lived in other countries. Well, not other countries. Let me rephrase that. I've lived in other states. I lived in other territories. I should probably word it that way. And I look to see where I was to where I am now. Has the journey been easy? Absolutely not. And listen, you have to look at it as well from the standpoint of think about the knowledge base that you have gained over the last few years. And you might be sitting here going, well, I'm just starting the journey now. Well, then, hey, mark this one down on September the 2nd of 2022. And if you need to come back to this, come back to it. Because it is difficult from time to time when you're going through this journey. Because it is not easy. The industry that you are in, or that most people that listen to this show are in, it is not the easiest journey. It is not the simplest way of doing things. And sometimes it is extremely difficult. But don't let that hold you back. Don't let that set you apart. Don't let that hold you from who you are trying to be. Life's about the journey, not the destination, but sometimes we get those things so mixed up. So mixed up. Listen, present company included here, meaning myself. So think about that today. Is that going to be the most motivational speech that you heard all day? Probably not. You'll probably hear something better. Don't worry about that. I'm not insulted. But I look at it from the standpoint as well as don't forget who the fuck you are. Simple as that. That's probably the most simplest way that I can put it. Now think about that today.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
The Work Wise Summit is an interactive 2-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day 1 will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day 2 will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to workzbe.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com Y Summit.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, You give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him in the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
If you ever wished that Facebook had a suck it button, you suck. This rock block is for you. Radio.
Tell you, this one is always one of my favorites. This is Pseudo with The Viper. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes, just in case. Oh, come on. You know you like it too. You're over there doing the VIPER. Okay, so there you go. This is the Rated R Safety Show coming to you on Radio Big and Safety FM. As you're getting to take a listen this morning as we get to hang out and do the fun stuff that we get to do. And of course, I always like me some music, so I'm going to play this a little bit longer because that's what happens. Yeah, there you go. So with that being said, take a listen to this. I'm a VIPE. Okay, so there you go. Fun times going on. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking a little bit more about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is exactly what we do. So let me reference this because I know that I'm going to catch some heat for it, so I'd rather just get it out of the forefront right away. Yes. I will acknowledge that people are celebrating Mental Health Month. I will acknowledge that, yes, if that is the only way that you can talk about this, I get it. Do I have to agree with that this is a month only to talk about this subject? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you, I'm glad that people are talking about it. But listen, this is a subject that should be talked about all the time. And somebody was trying to tell me a few days ago, well, you have to understand that it's done for the whole purpose of actually being able to reference something for particular months before it gets taken up by something else. Really? Really? Now, I think it's something we should talk about all the time. So let's talk about it right now. And let's talk about my friends at the 9888 Lifeline. Yes, they are there to help prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you or loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is text 988. We normally prefer that you text the word TALK to 988, or you could actually go to the website at 9888lifeline.org. You can use the chat box there, or you can even place a phone call to 988. And if you were wondering if the 1-800-273-TALK phone line is still available, yes, it is. It's not going anywhere, at least not for the foreseeable time. But you have either option, whatever is the one that you remember, or you might have programmed in your celly. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about right away as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into some other information of what's going on in case you were looking for some movies to go see during the $3 Cinema Day, which I guess I haven't addressed yet. Maybe I should address that first, and then I will tell you exactly what is going on inside of the world of the movies, because maybe you want to know about the $3 cinema. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about $3 Cinema Day or no? Or am I kind of speaking out of turn here and talking about stuff ahead of time? I have that bad habit of doing that, so don't hold it against me if you hadn't heard the information. So maybe we'll do this. Let's talk about it now.
The nationwide discount is good in more than 3,000 theaters. Industry folks say movie attendance hasn't bounced back yet since the pandemic hit, and September the 3rd is the day to celebrate how movies are meant to be seen on the big screen. Major chains like AMC and Regal are ready, plus many more. You can find a theater near you on the National Cinema Day website. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, so there you go. Some National Cinema Day stuff. So with that being said, let me tell you about some movies that are opening today. Honk for Jesus and Save a Soul. Yeah, it's a comedy in the aftermath of a huge scandal. Trinity Childs, the first lady that prominent Southern Baptist megachurch, attempts to help her pastor husband, Lee Curtis Childs, rebuild the congregation. Regina Hall, Sterling K. Brown, and Nicole Bahali are all on there. Burial is also opening up today in limited release. It's a horror movie. A small band of Russian soldiers have the task of talking to Hitler and discover the remains of the stallion in Moscow. After being attacked, an interpreted female intelligence officer leads to the last stand to ensure that the truth is hidden forever. So there you go. If you're looking at some movies to go see for the $3 National Cinema Day, there are some there for you. Anyways, in a bad light, staring at your phone for hours upon hours is not only taking up your time, it's making you older, at least making you look older. Dermatologists have long understood that UV rays from the sun damage the appearance and overall health of skin. But new findings, studies show that in a published journal of Frontier in Aging indicate that excessive exposure to blue lights from our devices may have detrimental effects on a wide range of cells in our bodies, from our skin and fat cells and sensory neurons, including the creation and deepening of wrinkles. Oregon State University scientists say that the study suggests that the avoidance of excessive blue light exposure may be good for anti-aging. The team also pointed out that they have previously declared too much screen use has been linked to obesity and psychological problems. That's a good news, because if you're dealing with those wrinkles, at least is the least of your problems. Just something to think about. And I thought that new wrinkles around the eyes were because I refused to wear my readers. Maybe I was thinking about that wrong altogether. So who knows? Anyways, let's talk about some news of the weird coming out of Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. A pilot of a flight to Cabo San Lucas took onto the intercom and threatened to return the aircraft to its departure gate if passengers didn't stop airdropping nude photos to him. Though the AirDrop iPhone users can send digital files to other Apple products in close range without using Wi-Fi or data, TikTok user Tay Mars posted footage where the pilot tells passengers, so here's the deal. If this continues while we're on the ground, I'm going to have to pull the back to the gate. Everybody's going to have to get off, and we're going to have to go through security to see who's involved, and your vacation is going to be ruined. He goes on with a viral clip, which is almost has 3 million views. So you folks, whatever that AirDrop thing is, quit sending me naked pictures, and let's get yourselves to Cabo. Also, as you can imagine, he was amused. TikTokers had their own responses to airplane hijinks, with one commenting, pilot had, don't make me turn this plane around. Energy of love it. So there you go. It is what it means. The freaks went on flyer mode. So there you go. So let's think about this real quick. Number one, I'm sure that if you have an iPhone or an Apple device, you knew that the AirDrop was an option. But did you know about the nudie ooties that you could send within a plane? Now, is that going to become a thing now where you'll start seeing that more and more? I'm just asking the question. You don't have to give me the answer, but it is definitely something to think about when you really put it all into perspective. But how weird sometimes how we use technology. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring in some John Smalls for the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Tim. Andrew Carnegie said, "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say and just watch what they do." Oh, this is great. I've noticed that too. Something I strive to do is make my words and my actions say the same thing. It can be confusing, to say the least, when someone tells you one thing, but they carry on in a completely different way. If you're going to talk the talk, make sure you walk the walk too. I used to work with a guy who spent quite a bit of time telling people to be on time for things, but he was never on time himself. That's a pretty simple example, and there are many. Be sure your words and actions match up. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. The data is pretty clear that the typical American diet is shortening the lives of many. Diet-related deaths outrank deaths from smoking, and about half of U.S. deaths from heart disease are linked to poor diet. The Biden administration will hold the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health on September 28th and will announce a new national strategy which will focus on the following initiatives: making healthy food more affordable, expanding federal food assistance programs, facilitating access to dietary and lifestyle counseling, including expansion of Medicare and Medicaid coverage for nutrition therapy, support companies centered on health, equity, and sustainability, increase regenerative farming, and make school meals free for all students. It will be interesting to see how these initiatives will help the current crisis that is linked to poor diet. For more, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. I'm constantly amazed at the Lord's patience. Consider Peter. No matter how many times he failed, God refused to give up on him. God had a plan for Peter's life, and he refused to allow Peter's repeated failures to compromise his divine purpose. In the end, he redeemed Peter's mistakes and caused them to contribute to Peter's ultimate Christ-likeness. And if God did not disqualify Peter because of his mistakes, he will not disqualify you either. Philippians 1 says, "And I am certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is finally finished." Lord Jesus, thank you for never giving up on us. Continue your holy work in us until we are fully conformed to your image. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, there you go. Making fun of people, I guess, is what we do. 53 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are still hanging out on this lovely Friday, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do around here, so don't worry about that. So let's get moving and grooving and talking and getting into what is remainder of the stuff that I need to tell you. So let's go into it right away. No winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $169 million jackpot or a $95.4 million cash payout. No winner for Wednesday night's Powerball drawing. Saturday's night's drawing will be for a $148 million jackpot or an $83.1 million cash payout. So there you go. If you want to play the game, there you go. Let's talk about this because we talked about it when it was going around. Chris Noth performed for the first time since several allegations of sexual assault came against him. He produced, directed, and starred in a one-night reading of Eugene Zelensky's Rhinoceros in St. James Place in Barrington, Massachusetts. As how it went, the source told Page Six it was very well received, and Noth even got a standing ovation at the end. Two women accused the actor of sexual assault earlier this year, and he was repeatedly denied allegations. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on, and let's take a look real quick on some things that happened back on this date. So taking a look around real quick, if we're taking a look at, let's take a look at 2015. There are 3 trillion trees on Earth, according to a study published in the Journal of Nature. Researchers found that Yale University found that the total number of trees had plummeted roughly 46% since the start of human civilization. The findings were the most comprehensive assessment of tree population ever produced. That happened back on this date, back in 2015. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, well, Zed turns 33 today. Spencer Smith turns 35. Jack Ryan turns 39. Cat Williams, 51. Selma Hayek, take a listen to this, turns 56. Keanu Reeves, 58. Mark Hamill, 71. And Terry Bradshaw, yeah, that guy, he turned 74 today, just in case if you wanted to know. Anyways, if you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those today for you. National Blueberry Popsicle Day and National VJ Day. I did say V as in Victor, just in case if you got all misconstrued on what I was saying.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
So there you go. Interesting stuff right there. Don't forget, Monday is still a holiday. That has not changed. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about Did You Know? Psychologists say that when it comes to dating, you should stay in your own league rather than try to date up. A study involving thousands of people found that when partners and matching mate values are, 8 within an 8, 4 within a 4, and 6 within a 6, they had better relationships. Especially, they reported better sexual history. Had more frequent interactions and stayed together longer. The lesson, when seeking your perfect match, you may not get what you think you want. Instead, you get exactly what you need to have a great relationship. On the other hand, when I was dating, I was literally nowhere to go but up. So I agree with that. I understand that. And I will tell you, I probably totally disagree with that assessment from those psychologists because I have dated up my whole life. I didn't really have much of another choice. That's the way that I look at it. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. People born during the month of September and November are most likely to live to be 100. Oh, that's funny. Australians use the name hurricanes after unpopular politicians. The unique smell of rain actually comes from the plant oils, bacteria, and ozone. Honey is so easy to digest because it's already been digested by the bees. If you heat up a magnet, it will lose its magnetism. Let's not try that. And only female ducks quack. Males coo, coot, honk, grunt, and don't quack. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. Isn't it ironic that to have a holiday that honors and celebrates hard work? I mean, think about that. And then we don't work. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the most unique or silliest problem that you have going on in your life at the moment? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Question: with kids going back to school, 28% of parents are looking forward to this. What is it? packing their lunch and getting the hell out of there. Okay, just kidding on that portion. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. If you want to come over to radiobig.fm, I'll be over there for the next couple hours or so doing the things that I get to do on that side. I would love for you to come over and hang out and do some stuff together as well. Remember, I will not be here on Monday, so I will see you on Tuesday. I hope you have a great and long weekend if you're looking forward to that. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is what you get. Think about it. Something to think about today. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
But just like C. Darwin, I live for natural selection. Never hugs or connections, I just constrict and reject them. I make my snake oil transactions, eject my papers and stack them. All these words and my demons, no message, but I can see